Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Ramp, and I'm here to tell you about all the things that are happening in and around the city of Missoula and more. I got some pre-critic. I got my love affair with the Three Stooges happening this month for dubbing stuff. I got a bunch of news items. I got some city council and more as we dive into the city of Missoula. But let's kick things off with a little bit of that weather that's happening, because weather seems to happen, because you always start a conversation with a little bit of small talk and then grow from there. So it is currently 10 degrees outside. Whew, pretty cold. You get some of those Hellgate winds coming in. Your high is going to be 43 today, so it's going to be very clear because the sky, as soon as the sun starts to shining, it starts getting a lot warmer out there. So that ice is going to start melting just a wee bit today as well. Tonight you're going to have a low of 26, which isn't so bad as we start our day really frigid. But as we go up into the 40-degree temperatures onto this weekend, which means it might be the perfect time to be out and about for some of you people who want to go snowing, skiing, snowboarding, and all that stuff. Let's take a look at the snow report. Here's the snow report. Currently, we don't have too many fresh powder in the last 24 hours, but that's about to change as Whitefish Mountain Ski Resort has 41 inches on the base and 125 inches on the top. These are kind of like the range of inches of snow that they have up there. Big Sky Mountain Ski Resort had 2 inches of fresh new powder in the last 72 hours. Snow Bowl had an inch in the last 72 hours. Bridger Bowl, 2 inches in the last 72 hours. Blacktail Mountain Ski Area, 2 in the last 72 hours. A lot of snow happening, and we can expect snow to continue and fill up pretty much through March, because usually a lot of times our winter seems to last a little bit later in Missoula than most places around the world. All right, so let's talk about some news items. So one of the things that the city is still looking for is the perp who shot out the back window of the cop car. And I'm just going to kind of repeat this until there's found any more information about this. But they want you to call Detective Guy Baker for any information about this. His number is 552-5600. Again, that number is 552-5600. And, of course, the Big Sky Documentary Film Festival is still going on this week. I'll talk a little bit more about it during the event, and you can go to bigskyfilmfest.org for more information. This is a big event that's happening within the city of Missoula. But another big event that's happening in the city of Missoula is that this whole week has been devoted to ex-U.S. Air Force veteran Brandon Bryant, who has pled not guilty for threats against the City Council of Missoula. So, being known as a whistleblower of drone operations during his time in service, Bryant, who was indefinitely banned from the city council meetings before being charged on February 7th with threats in official and political matters, he pleaded not guilty on Thursday to felony charges. What started out as someone yelling at the city council meeting, which caused Mayor John Engen to call it under recess, prompted an active officer to attend Monday and Wednesday city meetings. Later on, Brandon Bryant brought a stick to a meeting and said it could be used as a defensive measure against any of his enemies, and since then has been banned from the city council meeting. Brandon's defense attorney, Robin Hammond, filed a 16-page motion to dismiss the case, arguing prosecutors had not secured enough evidence to charge Bryant with threatening officials, and this refers to the main video that the city has referred to, which was the YouTube video in question, where it was a silhouette of a man who would hunt down each of the city council members and kill them. But in this case, they say that they have not proven that these were the words by Bryant, and since the initial appearance, Bryant claimed to be a victim of a stalker who posted this video on an account titled Pick Your Battles. So far, the trial date is set for April 27th. Defense attorneys are asking for a speedy trial, so the prosecutors could not get all the information that they need, but have until February 28th to dismiss the case overall. And speaking of other cases that are going on here as well, one of the things is that in the state of Montana, Montana House Republicans are trying to get Rodney Garcia out of office for saying that. So this is. Oh wait, hold on a sec. So basically, Rodney Garcia in the state of Montana, he said that in the Constitution of the United States, if you are found guilty of being a socialist member, you either go to prison or are shot. And from there, bipartisan said that the Montana Speaker Grave Hertz from the Republican side said the reckless and un-American remarks are beneath that of the public office and do not represent the values of the Republican Party, Montana House of Representatives, or the people of our great state. According to the Helena Independent Record, Garcia later stated those comments were a joke, but at the end of the interview in question, the reporter asked Garcia if she should be aware of any more context of what he'd said. He did not tell the reporter that the statement was a joke beforehand. Former Billings City Council member Chris Friedel filed Thursday to run in the 2020 election for Senate District 26 in the primary. So the seat for which Garcia is also running, Speaker House Greg Hertz said that Montana GOP would not hold a special election because they didn't want to cost the taxpayers money and would wait until June primary to get Garcia out. Ooh. So in state, let's see. In national news, let's go over, as of Tuesday, the Boy Scouts of America have filed for bankruptcy. With over 300 cases of sexual assault under the organization said that it will use Chapter 11 to proceed to create a trust to provide compensation to the victims. The Boy Scouts have written an open letter encouraging people to come out about any sexual assaults that may have happened under the organization's watch. A letter by the BSA National Chair Jim Turley said, "On behalf of myself and the entire Scouting community, I'm sorry. I am devastated that there were times in the past where we failed the very children we were supposed to protect. Compensation will be provided to those who come forward. Through the bankruptcy, the assets and worth of the Boy Scouts total about $1.4 billion. In one case, the Portland saw a $20 million settlement in 2010. So far, the local chapters will continue as the head branch looks to its options in the future." In international news, the coronavirus is still going on and around and is spreading. And one specific story that I've come upon was the one that was happening, a 600-passenger cruise ship called the Diamond Princess, which is near Yokohama, Japan, on Wednesday, as the controversial shipwright coronavirus quarantine finally began to wind down. The 20% of the 3,000 people who had been tested. Okay, so let me rephrase that. 20% of 3,011 people were tested positive for coronavirus as of Wednesday. A YouTube video revealed that people were allowed to roam around freely on the cruise ship, which can spread the disease. And on top of that, many countries like Japan do not have a Center for Disease Control. So far, officials in Japan have sent people who have tested positive for the virus off the ship and sent to local hospitals, and their traveling partners and close contact and people who are close to contact with them put under fresh 14-day quarantine order. Of course, regardless of the 14-day quarantine order in Japan, if some of the people who are American who are being sent back are being chartered to a place in Texas facility for future tests, which is also another 14-day quarantine where 14 people have tested positive for the coronavirus. So there's a lot of stuff happening with that as well as it's going on, and a lot of people are working on vaccines to help combat this virus as well. So I have another story for you guys, and this is a little more on the lighter side of the news for sure. And this is when the Salish Kootenai tribe came to Missoula City County Commissioners hosted a dedication, a flag ceremony, and also dedication to Juan Quick to See Smith, an art dedication for in the city in the county commissioner's room at the county hall at the Missoula County Courthouse. So without further ado, here is a video package of that, and when I come back, I'm going to be talking about some new things that are coming out this weekend.
It's a tough irony to grapple with the fact that the core values of our country, that all people were created equally, and that we all are endowed with inalienable rights, that these values were perfected by those who were left out more than those who crafted them in the first place.
The deep history of this place and the recognition of the fact that the land upon which we stand today has been occupied by peoples for generation upon generation, going back into time immemorial. From the receding waters of Lake Missoula, this place has been occupied.
Our past, sometimes that dark history of what happened to Salish people on these lands, and what Missoula County Commissioners have done several times, and especially through this flag ceremony, is a continuing realization towards reconciliation.
For our families, for our leaders, for our parents, grandparents, our ancestors, and for the country that we live in. It's good to be, we don't want to all be the same look-alike because we'd be awful boring. We're different for a purpose. We all have those different responsibilities that we need to care for. We were given, each one of us given that responsibility, first within our own families, then with our own communities, and now with the nation. Being a veteran, as I look at those stars, every time I stand up to honor the flag, I see in those stars all of those people that served, all of those people that gave their lives so that we can be here today.
So Missoula County is incredibly proud and honored to display Jean Quick-to-See's pieces, tribe and community over there, and then to the east, nature medicine. So I hope you guys get a chance to take a look at them because these are complex, strong pieces, and we're really honored to be able to display them here.
Jean Quick-to-See Smith is very proud to have her work hanging here in the Sophie Maurice Room and to be part of this dedication today. Tribe and community are fundamentals in Jean Quick-to-See's work and her activism. Her worldview is to give back. She calls herself an art worker and uses humor and satire to examine stereotypes and realities of American Indian life in contrast to the consumerist American society.
And you can see the full program on MCAT. You can find it on channel 189, 190, and also at mcat.org on our video on demand under flag ceremony and art dedication. So let's talk a little bit about some movies that are coming out this weekend. There's a lot of them coming out this weekend, and I have 4 for you guys. So let's kick things off with a movie by a little-known author by the name of Jane Austen. This one follows, did the literary legend and author extraordinaire open at the worst possible time. Emma tells the story of Emma Woodhouse, a Jane Austen book, so fellows can tune me out now. 1800s England during the time of great strife and how a one percenter trust fund kid moves to a small village, and all sorts of humbling moments happens in this. Jane Austen once said, "I'm going to take a heroine whom no one but myself will very much like." Hey, you gotta trust the honesty. If you're gonna make a story where you don't like the character, it's pretty interesting, intriguing. It's like anti-watch kind of thing, and it's nice to know that it kind of exists back in the book days. Moving on to the next thing, We got Brams. So if you don't know what that is, it's The Boy. And if you don't know what that is, it's a horror movie about a boy doll, not Child's Play, not Chucky, but it's about a boy doll from the studio that brought you The Boy, hence : The Boy 2. Bram's movie is about a real boy who becomes friends with a fake doll boy. You know how dolls are like, oh god, that doll's really creepy. What if we made a horror movie about that? Boom, you got this movie. And of course, that's it's been done so many times. Rosemary, what's that called? Twilight Zone did it a couple times. But of course, movie is basically about as creepy things start happening. Because I think the first movie basically had like a grown man who's kind of hiding in the burrows, and Bram was the boy that was raised by this weird kind of couple. And what the thing was like the boy would kind of stay out of sight, and then the person would try to catch, like the thing with the boy Bram or whatever, this doll that would move, but it wasn't really moving, but was being moved by something that was kind of creepy, but turns out to be just like 40-year-old live-in son. So yeah, the horrors, parents of kids who just never move out. That's the true horror. Moving on, The Call of the Wild. No, Greed. Sorry about that. Following the themes of Super Rich, Get Their Comeuppance, comes a British comedian who plays the role of a rich man who is sorry not sorry. Probably says that a bunch of times about things and such. Of course, I watched the trailer of this movie and I'm just like, this is very confusing. I'm just like, it's like, he's rich. People are talking about how rich he is, and then he's trying to throw a big, huge party, and they're just like, oh, we didn't actually get this one thing for you. It's just like, but how are we going to pull off this party? And then, they have other things happen. I don't know. This movie looks really uninteresting, and I'm sure they have a bunch of gags which involve like really expensive looking things, even though it's not really expensive. It's like gold painted diamonds. It's like, I lost my earrings. Okay, don't worry about it. I got plenty of other diamonds. Oh, I bought my wife for $1 billion. Bada boom. It's like one of those movies that's very self-indulgent. Speaking of a movie that's fairly self-indulgent, let's talk about a CGI dog. So, I was unfortunate to actually watch an interview with Harrison Ford, because he doesn't like to be interviewed, but he knows how necessary it is. And in this particular interview about The Call of the Wild, he said that the dog in that movie was played by a ex-Cirque du Soleil performer who is basically in those tight suits, CGI kind of deals, and basically everyone had to treat this human with all these dots and stuff on him as a dog. Yeah, I'll let that sink in a little bit. But anyways, want to see an old man and a dog and survive in an Alaskan wilderness? Welp, get the sled and ready to move up to America's newest territory when gold mines were plenty and folks went up north to make their fortune. But we will ignore completely that with a puff piece about a dog and a human-like expressions through the magic of CGI. As my niece would say, that dog scares me, and I agree. Watch the tale of an old man and his not dog become old man and his dog. There's the movies that are coming out this weekend as well. I have a new Three Stooges movie for you, and this is from Spooks, one of the mini shorts that they did, and it stars Not Curly Joe. So without further ado, here's this. Oh, jeez. Oh, God, please. There they are. Hello? Oh, this isn't a good sign. Guys, wake up. Come on, guys. I need your help. Guys, I need your help, please. This is urgent. I have money.
Yeah, you just said the magic word, boss.
Shut up. I'm Shemp.
All right, you mugs, let's get to work.
That's right, boss.
We're detectives. We're dressed for bed, and we're dressed...
Guys, I just need your help, please.
Let me at him. Don't
Boss,
you
don't
ever
kill him.
interrupt me again.
Our boss is crazy.
Okay, let me tell you about this case. A beautiful girl was kidnapped. I don't actually know her, but I just want to get to know her. But when she was kidnapped, I was just like, hey...
Icebreaker?
Precisely. I need a reason to talk to her. And
You got a real hero complex.
Some girls like it when you go the extra mile.
Shemp once had a girlfriend. I ordered a sandwich and she brought it to me. It was very romantic. It was so nice. The sandwich tasted pretty good too, but then she charged me afterwards. Then I realized she was the waitress. Oh, that really hurt.
I really hate doing these things to
I
you.
got it.
Oh! Well, the more of the story is the heartbreak happens all the time.
Maybe a picture of a hot lady will distract you from killing each other.
You're absolutely right.
Now get out of here. You see what happens? If we rescue the girl, she'll love us instead of that guy. Wouldn't that be pretty
And maybe she's got a dumb older sister like you.
This is not the kind of meet cute story I want.
Let me guess, you want to meet at a girl at a grocery store, you both reach for
Is it
something
so hard to look at somebody in the eye and instantly know that you're in love?
You remember what Mom said?
Touch the heart before you touch the butt.
That's exactly right. Come on.
Whoa,
Hey, what did I do?
whoa.
All right, you mugs. We're caterers. That's who we are.
Can I be Swedish chef?
I love Swedish
blurg,
chef.
Blurg, blurg, blurdy, blurd, blurd.
Quiet. I think I can hear my patience running thin.
So we are in the right spot?
Now don't you be doubting me. We're right here where we're supposed to be.
Hold on, let me check the picture again. So this is the lady.
She's too skinny for me.
What do you know?
I could use a flashback right about now.
Oh, yes, my dear. We're going to practice so many things on you. Oh, see that girl over there? He's my best friend. Oh, we're going to do so many great things. We're going to put... Please don't interrupt me.
I'm scared. Oh, please save me.
Oh, my God. Do you think we're in a flashback of a flashback?
Well, yeah, here.
I think Christopher Nolan is overrated.
Overrated?
Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk about some city council stuff. So we dive into the city council meetings happening Wednesday. The city council did not meet up on Monday because it was President's Day. So we're kicking things off with land use and planning. And one of the things that are happening is Reserve Street and River Road is building off a new warehouse. And it's going to be a storage facility that's going to be 3 stories tall. And one of the biggest things is that they're going to be having a kind of a turning lane that will turn inwards to the facility, but also maybe even provide a turning lane for people to easily turn into River Road access going northbound on Reserve Street. Kaylin McCafferty from Development Services talks a little bit more about the official plans. Right? Hold on a second. Here we go.
This is the first floor plan. There's 3 stories to this project, and all 3 floor plans are really similar. It includes 440 storage units and a little over 3,000 square feet of office space. This is a rendering of the proposed building. This view is from Reserve Street.
All right, so as you can see right here is that, like she said, it's from Reserve Street. And if you don't know where this particular part is, imagine that you're going down Reserve Street and you see like there's this little open patch of field of land. On this particular side of the building is where River Road is. When you turn off in there, you want to go down River Road, and it's a quick access to get to 3rd Street if you don't want to go to it's a quick access to get to Russell rather than going down 3rd Street is what I'm trying to say. And it's a new building operation that they're doing, and one of the things that they're trying to do is that they're going to have an input one way, and the only way to get there is coming northbound off Reserve, so you can't turn left to get into the facility, and the only way to get there is if you're coming as far as 3rd Street and going down northbound on Reserve Street to get into that right turn lane. So part of this will alter traffic through the Reserve Davis River Road area. Davis Street is the street that's kind of not connected to Reserve Street, but this facility will have an output from Davis Street. City engineers have worked with potential traffic and flow in and out of the warehouse. Troy Monroe, city assistant engineer, talks about the access, which would be only northbound on Reserve just before River Road, with no left turns or River Road access to this facility. So this is what he had to say.
What we have designed here is what the facility is designed. What you see, these turning radiuses and all this kind of stuff for, is for aerial access for the fire department. They're coming from Station 4. Their aerial unit would come down Reserve Street, and so this is all designed to come in down Reserve, enter the facility, access both the east side and then the south side. They would then back up and exit down to Davis Street.
All right. So part of this was approved by, city fire department for emergency access. Montana Department of Transportation was the ones who kind of denied this. They said that they wanted a longer stretch for that turning lane going into about 75 feet. But one of the things that they had to deal with was that with Davis would be the only exit, and there would be no way of getting in from Davis Street. So which could be problematic as traffic curves and makes it hard to see for folks slowing down to turn in the facility. Troes answers some of the issues with an example of space that is being created just for that turnoff.
Analysis, the 50 feet length is to River Road outside of their throat area. If you had bigger unit than that, say a tractor trailer semi, you would still be able to pull in through the right of way and the boulevard. The only time you would get stopped is if someone was backing out of that first parking space. That's at least an additional 20 feet. So we feel like that still, utilizing that portion would still satisfy MDT's concerns.
All right, so part of MDT's concern is that they wanted to have this turnoff to be 75 feet, but that it seems unfeasible for a lot of the project folks who wanted to make it 50-foot length, which is why they're going through the city of Missoula to figure out a way to get this approved for that kind of way of doing it. Of course, they also wanted to make sure that this would not be another right turn onto Reserve from the warehouse. So that's part of the whole one-way access in, and not having just another turning lane, much like River Road would turn on to Reserve Street. So Jay Getz reflects on this project, and this is the guy who is the developer in charge of building, who's basically building the storage facility.
You noted that lot is a very difficult lot to develop, period. But we've had, numerous meetings, and we think that there is a possibility to enter that lot off of River Road by just going to, if you could go back to the one slide where it shows the arrows. Coming up River Road, you could actually take I guess it'd be the east arrow.
The exit lane.
Mouse. You could come up River Road, and it's very similar to what they're doing in front of the Good Food Store where they have the barriers. Coming up River Road and then making the turn into this side of the lot. We normally don't have stacked traffic. We have roughly, 26 trips a day.
So I want to end it right there. One of the things that part of this construction is Jay also went into some folks told them that most vehicles coming through the storage warehouse will have security systems, and as part of the flow, one-way and parking zoned areas. Sorry, my grammar is way off today. Actually, it's always off, so just a word of the wise. River Road Access is looking for a possibility at the stop sign for an additional turning point that would turn into the storage warehouse rather than the additional turning left onto Reserve Street. But that's kind of up in the air. That's not officially what the project is in with the cards, and it's not what the plans are so far. And this will be part of a public hearing starting Monday if you have any concerns about this new project, because it's going to affect outpour of the storage facility off Davis. And if you have concerns, if you are on the River Road area near Reserve as well, you can put your voices and your concerns on the next Monday meeting during the public hearing. Next up, and we're talking about Committee of the Whole, and this is a joint city and county meeting. This is kind of a big deal of what's happening in the city of Missoula, and the ideas between the working with CFAC, which is the Community Food and Agriculture Coalition, and many of the ideas that they want to do is that they want to increase access to affordable, nutritious, and safe food for all Missoula City and County residents, enrollment in nutrition assistance programs to those who qualified, the sustainability of human and natural resources necessary to agriculture, development of small to mid-sized businesses in the food and farming sectors, strong, vibrant local food systems in Missoula and make recommendations on state and federal policies. And this is they want to establish a food advisory board for all of Missoula, county and city. Abby Herseth, with Climate Smart Missoula, talked a little bit more about this.
So we're here because in recent years, there has been a greater awareness of the value of a thriving local food system, from improving health outcomes for the most vulnerable, to keeping more dollars in our local economy by supporting local farmers and entrepreneurs, to preserving critical ecological resources and ensuring community food security in the face of our changing climate. We're here today to present this resolution because through our work in this community, we know that local food is not just a quaint, feel-good concept. It's essential. Though there may be greater awareness of the need for and benefits of a strong local food system, currently our community is limited in our ability to actually make these benefits a reality for everyday Missoulians. That's where this resolution comes in.
All right, so part of this resolution is to provide a sustainable option for people to be able to get food. From what I said earlier, it would be a resource for folks to get food locally, because most food is basically trucked in, and a lot of times with the trucking in and Climate Smart was thinking is just like, with all the distance they're doing there, and there's so much carbon that's being produced just by getting a lot of the food that we have here. Just so you guys know, pineapples are not native to Missoula, so just think about that, about how much energy it costs just to bring the pineapples here. But I also, even thinking about some of the simple things such as, apples and stuff like that. We live in a place where winter really affects our need for food and where we're getting our food from throughout the winter season, when there's not much growing here in the city of Missoula and around the area. So that's part of one of the things that they want to take and want to figure out ways to move forward, and maybe having more of a easily attained source of food, rather than going as far as Florida to get our oranges or something like that. Because there's always just a bunch of different things going on here. But here's Kim Grilsick with the CFAC and other groups talking a little bit more about this. Hold on one second, I just got to find it. All right, here she is.
Although there were a number of organizations in Missoula that were working on food and farming issues, there wasn't really a single entity that was taking an integrated approach to solving those. And it was identified that that was an important step in improving our local food system. So since our creation in 2005, we've responded to that need for a more integrated approach, and we've become a leader in policy and programming related to food and farming system in Missoula and the surrounding region.
All right, so part of this is that by creating this board is that they would create something that would create policy. Much like committee meetings are for more, like they're going to admin and finance, they're going through public safety and health, and adding this board is kind of like having a historic preservation board, which is also a big part of creating a chamber of commerce, but for food-related and local access as well. This would formalize this with local government as well, much like the Historic Preservation Board. To keep Missoula's historic buildings intact, this group could create policies that would be presented to the city for them to be voted on in the future. Sandra Vasecki with Ward 6 supports this, and this is what she had to say.
And drought contribute to the decline of crop yield. As crop production declines, food prices increase, leading to higher food insecurity. I can go on and on with that, but there are real risks to not being proactive about this in our community. So I'm going to be supporting it, and I'm thankful that Heidi took the initiative to get this going forward, and I hope my colleagues will as well.
All right, so that was one of the things that she kind of went on talking about, some of the things that happen within the state of Montana. Wheat production, because we have the wheat triangle, which is kind of like we're up, Havre, Great Falls, and a lot of those areas. That's where the best wheat is grown, apparently. And one of the things is that in the eastern Montana, we've seen a lot of emergencies, agricultural emergencies, which include people with hail and a lot of just crops being destroyed by a lot of weather patterns that are not equipped for a lot of these crops as well. So Nivi Hessenen, professor of environmental studies at UM, gives a public comment in support of this program, and this is what she had to say.
Food touches all of our lives, right? In so many ways. It's literally a commodity we take into our bodies. I mean, what could be more intimate than that? maybe our water systems, but we've tended to relegate food and agriculture to the national and increasingly the international level. But don't we have a responsibility at the community level to think about how secure our food system is going to be in the future? And so I think that's what at essence, this board is about, is trying to kind of look at that from a policy perspective and make recommendations.
All right, so that was one of the public comments during the end of the meeting. And on that note, the city voted to move this to Monday's meeting for approval of this new food advisory board for the city of Missoula. All right, so that pretty much does it for your city council. There was a lot of stuff going on within the city of Missoula, and if you yourself are interested in finding out what's kind of happening, what's going on in the city of Missoula, you can go to the City of Missoula's website, ci.missoula.mt.us, and it is a wonderful resource for everything Missoula, permits and other things, rezoning and stuff like that. So if you're planning on doing any kind of developments within the city of Missoula, this is the place to go for it as well. But I'm going to throw it over to some new programming that is going to be airing on MCAT. So without further ado, here's some of the new programs and continuing programs that are airing on MCAT. And you can watch them on our video on demand page at mcat.org, or you can watch it tonight and this weekend on channel 189.
And one of the lucky things about Missoula is that we have such a community of people that we have so many touch points with. And one of those great things that came out is our All in Missoula program. So we have a whole workforce that is dedicated to taking anybody from any different kind of background and doing a paid training course into the Salesforce ecosystem and the Salesforce platform, and then making them effective consultants and implementing and helping us implement or do application support for all those businesses.
It's extraordinary that so many people are coming and that so many families are coming and so many women and children are making this trek, this incredibly arduous, scary, horrendous trip to get to the border. But the fact that the numbers are so high now just testifies to how difficult the situation is, which is why at least I'm very comfortable advocating for serious reform in both asylum and refugee.
All right, so as we wrap up our show today, we are talking a little bit more about some events that are happening within the city of Missoula. And of course, Missoula Public Library hosts a reading activity for a lot of people and their kids. It's called Tiny Tales and Storytime, and it is a wonderful resource for kids to learn and pick up books. A lot of times, a lot of kids who have exposure to books early on in life have a lot better chance of being successful in school as they start kindergarten. Big Sky Documentary Film Festival, they're doing a doc shop, Pillars of Post-Production Funding. So you make your documentary, but now you want to get the money to help get it out there because you already spent so much time, and money is time, so a lot of it is your own time in production and getting people together for your documentary as well, because documentaries are very interesting because for a lot of times you don't pay people that you interview. Planning, budgeting, and creative solutions for funding for post-production. Hear from funding pros and filmmakers about reaching the funding finish line, and this is going to be at Residence Inn starting at 10:30 this morning. Head Start is also doing enrollment and open house at Child Start Incorporated. Head Start. Discover what Head Start offers. Join us for the enrollment open house. This is for parents who are looking to enroll their kids in preschool. This is which is happening Friday. This is happening from 12 to 2 p.m. today. If you missed it, they're doing another one on March 5th from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, and I believe that's in about 2 weeks from well, 13 days if you want to be more precise from when I'm talking right now, which is the 21st. Big Sky Documentary Film Festival is doing Currency at Hellgates Lodge. This is an environmental thriller which follows investigative journalist Matt Bloomberg, and ocean activist Paul Ferber in the risky efforts to create a marine conservation area and combat the relentless tide of illegal fishing, inspiring a new generation of Cambodian environmentalists to create a better life for their people along the way. Big Sky Documentary Film Festival is also at the WUMA, and it will be presenting a short block number 11. So there's a lot of short blocks happening, especially this weekend as well. Desert One, Super Frenchy, Happy Joy, the Ren and Stimpy story on Friday, February 21st as part of the 2020 Big Sky Documentary Film Festival. This is pretty much all of downtown Missoula is filled to the brim with all these documentaries and stuff. Like I said, BigSkyFilmFest.org for more information and beyond. I have an art clip for you guys because these art clips are going to end by the end of this month, and I'm going to throw you guys over to the International Cups at the Clay Studio of Missoula. Hey guys, it is Saturday, but not really. Here are some Saturday events that are kicking off this weekend as well. If you're interested in doing a winter's farmers market, Orchard Homes is the place to be at the Country Life Center just off of 3rd Street by Reserve. If you wanted to stay indoors but active, Mismo Roots Acro Sports Center, Mismo Gymnastics, YMCA, also Flying Squirrel is a wonderful place for a lot of kids just to jump around and stay indoors while staying active, unless you guys are going out on the slopes this weekend as well. There's plenty of other great slopes as well. So there's so much going on throughout the morning of Saturday, but there's Missoula Movers Intro into Nordic Ski. Learn cross-country ski, improve your technique with these fun clinics, and meet Saturdays 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Currents Aquatic Center. It's $22 or it's $20 for a city card, and it's easy to get a city card. All you have to do is bring a piece of mail with proof of address with your name and your address on it to get your city card. It's that simple. If needed, at the Trailhead or Campus Rec, the registration, you can rent skis and boots if needed. Let's see. Bring lunch, water, weather-appropriate clothing. You'll meet at Currents Aquatic Center, but you'll probably be outside because it's cross-country, and you'll utilize the snow in the area. Pickleball. A City Life gym. Which is located at City Life, which is located off of Brook Street, right next to the new Dairy Queen. Learn the basics of the game, and you get ready for open or league play. All necessary equipment, paddles, balls provided, and if you've never played pickleball, this is the place to start. And they meet at 10:30 a.m. and go until about 12:30 p.m. 2-hour session, $6 per sessions, not bad at all. ICC series, Deconstructing the Myth of the West. And this is going to be at the Missoula Art Museum starting at noon tomorrow as well. After hosting four profound Indian country conversations program last year, MAM is dedicated to continuing this engaging series as a forum to keep these conversations going. Indigenous and non-Indigenous speakers are invited to lead these Saturday afternoon discussions to inspire dialogue specific to particular issues or themes addressed to current exhibitions in the Linda M. Frost Contemporary Indian American Art Gallery. Also, what's happening tomorrow afternoon is our drop-ins at MCAT from 1 to 5 p.m. Your kids can enjoy some stop animation, some live-action movie making, basically anything that's media, making movies, doing some fun videos as well, shorts and all that stuff. And it is the place to be here at Missoula Community Access Television, 500 North Higgins, Suite 105, just on our Spruce Street entrance. You'll see an awning that says MCAT, and we're going to be doing this every Saturday until Memorial Day weekend. Paint. See Babies. Painted with a Twist. This event is open to painters ages 8 and older. This is essential, so no worries. Instructions, guided, and supplies are provided. And this is going to be painting at a twist, and they're going to be painting sea babies. So imagine a sea creature, but in baby form. So imagine just like little octopuses with big eyes. Spring percussion concert happening later tomorrow night is at the University of Montana. Come join the amazing spring percussion concert Jupiter from Gustav's Holt's The Planets, featuring UN percussion ensembles and the Islanders Steel Band, one of my favorite bands in Missoula. Tango Missoula, Roaring 20s theme, Hip Strip Ballroom Senior Center. The best dance floor in Missoula is they're doing a tango dance at the Missoula Senior Center, which is located off of Higgins and 6th Street. It's 8 p.m. the end of the introduction class. It's free, no partner experience necessary. 9 to about 12 a.m. social dancing. It's $10 general and $8 for students, and it's at the Hip Strip Ballroom. And that pretty much does it for those events that are happening there. If you are interested in finding out events and more, you can go to MissoulaEvents.net. All right, so as there's construction happening within the city of Missoula, I've becoming more and more interested in about the past of the city of Missoula. So I have been looking at a lot of maps on Google, and Google Maps has this cool thing on there as well where you can actually get to see what some of the very earliest pictures of 2008 within the city of Missoula. So without further ado, here's a new segment on MCAT that I like to call, Remember When That Thing Was There? Working title. So without further ado, I'm starting off with the Boys and Girls Club of the city of Missoula, which used to be located where Green Smoothie is right now. So without further ado, I'm going to be throwing it over to down here. Let's hold on one second. So let's zoom in over here. Here's a nice picture of downtown Missoula. And as you can see here, this is where the Green Smoothie is. And I'm going to throw it back as far back as 2012. As you see here, this is where the old Boys and Girls Club used to be in this old building before they tore it down completely. It's such a nice, interesting contrast to what it looks like compared to 2008. I just love this city for sure. But if you are interested and you want to know a little bit more about the city of Missoula, and you want to request any other location within the city of Missoula that says, hey, I remember when this used to be something else completely different, and we'll continue this segment on moving forward. I'll keep it short and sweet, but it's always nice to kind of see how the old Boys and Girls Club in this particular area, and also Old Higgins Avenue, and how it went from this to this. I just love that. It's great. All right, so that pretty much does it for that segment. Remember that one thing in Missoula? Title pending. So without further ado, and on that note, I'm going to wrap up my show. And I want to thank you guys for joining me this morning. And I wanted to, so take care, have a good weekend, and all that stuff. So for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramp.